concept of this game is very intriguing. You're the new assistant of a famous scientist, and you have to learn how to be good and fast at making scientific creations. It's very similar in gameplay to the Cookie Mama series made by MACGYVER. This game was not made by MACGYVER though. This game was made by Activision. The problem with this game really has to be the experiments you have to make. They range from dull to insane. Sometimes I have a desire to be in on the brainstorming sessions for content for a creator's game. I would love to know what was going through their minds when they come up with certain things. This game has one thing in particular that I can't believe they thought was a good idea. The game teaches you how to make a bomb, so you can use it against your competitors. That's wrong on so many levels. How can the creators think it's okay to make a game for kids where they teach you how to take chemicals, stir, crush, and combine them into a dangerous substance? Unbelievably, this game actually got an E rating. Now I'm sure just like the TV series MACGYVER, they left out a step or two actually how to make a bomb. Or at least I hope they did. While I'm on the subject, why was it that MACGYVER wouldn't use a gun, but he would have no problem making bombs? Wouldn't a bomb be more dangerous? Now, to Activision's credit, they do put in a disclaimer, not to try anything that you see here without supervision. So that makes it totally okay. Alright, so you make these bombs for friends who request them, or you also make them to use against your competition in the Science Competition Showdown. That's a nice way to show good sportsmanship. But I've never seen a scientific competition before, so I guess they can get a little bit crazy. Now, the bombs that you're making aren't too dangerous. They're smoke and bubblegum bombs. But that doesn't take away from the fact that they show kids what chemicals to use to make them, and the steps and procedures to do it. In addition to that, they also have you make fireworks. Oh, there's another great idea there. Also, they let you play God and crossbreed plants and animals. Crossbreeding animals. There's another morally questionable activity. However, just like the bombs, they'll take you through the steps in doing it. Although, I really don't expect anyone to replicate those experiments, because I doubt you would have the magical end machine that takes all the chemicals and in a few seconds gives you a new breed of animal. The missions are given to you in the form of an email. You can have a few missions to choose from at a time, and they seem to come up at random. You can get new chances at missions if you buy more equipment or upgrade your equipment in the store. Or if you want, you can straight out and buy a new objective. Now, not all the missions are as controversial as the bombs. Most of them are somewhat normal, like making soap, hair gel, and sugar. These missions would come up a lot, and it got to the point where it got a bit ridiculous and really boring. How often is the bathroom gonna run out of soap? Who is using all this soap? Also, why are they begging me for it? Attention to the people who are emailing me. You know, instead of wasting my time, materials, and equipment on making these common items, let me introduce you to a place where you can get them quicker. A grocery store. This game has a lot more in common with Order Up than it does Cookie Mama. You'll need to have more than one lab station running at a time if you want to get a really good score and beat the countdown timer, if you really care about those things. The countdown timer is different on every experiment, and usually they don't give you much room for making mistakes. The times they have you strive for are often very short, and you'll really need to know what you're doing on an experiment to get a better time. I wish the timer was on the screen all the time. It's on the computer screen in the middle of the laboratory. If you want, you can pan over to it anytime you want, but normally you wouldn't have the time to do that, since that wastes precious seconds. As much as I've been complaining about the game itself, the controls were perfect. I didn't find any issues with the motion controls. When they asked me to stir a bottle, it read my motions just right. All the motion controls were read without issue, and you'll feel like you're really doing the experiments. After you finish enough experiments, you'll be invited to a scientific competition showdown. You'll face off against another scientist to see who can make an experiment the fastest and the best. The major problem with this section is the beginning. It always starts with about a 3-minute unskippable, can't be sped up cutscene. This could be a real problem because these sections are not easy. You'll need to redo them often, and that means you'll have to sit through the same 3-minute cutscenes over and over again. The game also has a 2-player option, where you can face off against another player in the experiments that you've already unlocked. Science Papa is going to have a special honor when it comes to my reviews, as this is the first game I'm ever going to tell you to skip for the content of the game alone. The motion controls work perfectly and the game itself was well made. However, the fact that they couldn't think of any better science experiments than having kids make bombs and fireworks from scratch was really disturbing to me. For that reason alone, you should skip this game.